after the Aleppo bombing, do you have any feelings about it? Of course you do. We all do. We're humans. It's only natural that we have feelings when we see these powerful images. And they say pictures say 1,000 words. But more than 1,000 words, they make us feel 1,000 feelings. And that's why they are powerful. And that's why they are so important to us as human beings. And why are they so important? Well, I'm gonna tell you that they lead us to make decisions. For example, in Guantanamo, when we see the images, we can say something to the government. We can decide to act upon them, and even the government, when they see them in the media, they can react differently than if they were hearing. So the importance of those decisions, it's why pictures are so powerful and meaningful to us. We know and we understand that anything powerful can be used for the absolute good or for the absolute evil. And we can control how people are going to use these images. What we can control is putting them out there so people can make their own decisions. But is the government who can control them? Is it the media? Is it the internet, the publishing? Historically, this has been tried to be done, but it hasn't worked. And Yoshi is going to tell us a little more on why it hasn't.
Okay, let me talk about censorship. Do you think censorship is a recent topic? The answer is no. Censorship is talked about like long years ago, and it's still controversial. And as you can see the picture, like it is pictures from World War II. Because of censorship, we couldn't get information about what was going on during World War, so we cannot stop the war. However, like as you can see those pictures from Vietnam War, we could see these pictures in the real time, so we could see what was going on in the Vietnam, and so people try to take an action. In the beginning, a lot of people support Vietnam War, like 6% supported, but after like those pictures came out, like only 29% support this war. So we can understand how the pictures are important. And I think there are 3 important topics. First one is to facilitate what is going on. And second one is to think what people feel. And third one is and after thinking and take an action to make change.
Former news anchor Bill O'Reilly said, "We might not report brutal images if they serve no purpose." Our team would argue that presenting these images always serves a purpose, which is to keep you informed so you can make the right decisions then. Information leads to decision making, and decision making leads to action. And if we break any part of this chain, we break people's ability to make informed decisions. That is to say, we break people's ability to make the right decisions when they need to act. Imagine if the images of horror from famine, horrors of war, and horrors of disease were cut in half, and we only saw half the picture, literally. How would we have acted? How would we have acted against AIDS, the crisis in Eritrea, or the wars that we've seen? So I think all of us need to ask ourselves, are we concerned about the pains of others when we see these images? Or are we really concerned about the pain that we feel inside ourselves? Like my colleagues have said, it is hurtful to see these images, but nonetheless we need to act. So there are 3 things we would like you guys to take away from this talk here. 1, embrace the discomfort. This is what's going to enable you to take the right decisions and act. React when you feel it. And thirdly, fight censorship wherever you see it. No one has the right to control your actions. Thank you.
So Victoria was a 21-year student of journalism, and Daniel was a photographer at the Boston Herald. Both were celebrating the Red Sox had the U.S. final for baseball in 2004 in Fenway Park in Boston. There, the crowd got overexcited, and the police started to fire pepper spray bullets to the crowd. One of the bullets hit Victoria in the eye. She was knocked down to the ground. She died a couple hours after. Daniel was just a step away from her, and he started to take pictures of Victoria. The next day, the picture of Victoria was in the front page of the Boston Herald. The community was really angry with the Boston, and they started to send messages. And at the end of the story, the editorial director has to apologize for showing Victoria's picture in the news. But this is the story that everyone knows. What about the story of Richard and Diane, Victoria's parents? They received a call at 1:30 a.m. and they went to the hospital. But it was too late. Victoria was already dead. After this horrifying night, they found Victoria's picture in every media and every newspaper. So I would like to ask you, how you make you feel to see your dead members of your family dead in every media and every newspaper? It was actually necessary to show Victoria's picture to tell what happened to her. So Roberto is going to tell you more about this story.
As my opponent Dan Vukovic said before, a picture does have a huge power. A picture does have the power of 1,000 words. Also the same for a video. It's there, the information is fresh, it's on the spot. You can feel it, you can understand it in a second, right? But should we use this power to present all types of news? Imagine this picture now, this picture that we see. Right? Imagine what's the impact in people's mind when they see something like that, this violent image, right? So what do you think? Is everybody prepared to see that, to absorb that kind of things? Imagine this child. I think this child is not prepared to watch something like that. And what are the consequences? What do you think are the consequences that this kind of information can generate in a child? I think that there might be severe consequences, traumas, or even more violent generation. You know, more consequences to other events that might happen in the future. That these events can generate ideas for other people. So my suggestion, our suggestion is that it's almost impossible to reduce, to eliminate all this content from the news or from the web, but our idea is to reduce it to a minimum level, to control it, so the right people have access to it. So Ryan, now.
So we've seen how families and individuals can be affected by these images of horror. Now let's make one thing clear. People must be informed. People have a right and need to know what's going on. But these media outlets aren't just trying to inform you. You see, they view you as customers and they are desperate to get you. They show these images of horror to increase their numbers, with people tuning in and clicking, and bigger numbers mean bigger advertising dollars. You don't need to show graphic images to explain a story. You can use compelling, emotional images without showing bodies and victims that are dismembered and suffering and bloodshed. What about organizations, for example? For instance, let's take ISIS. They use fear as part of their power. And that their power is actually the terror that they can spread. And they do this through communication channels. But not only this, but they're able to spread their message to millions of people. And this can have the result of rallying other extremist groups to support them, as well as individuals inciting a passion in some sociopaths to join this bigger movement or to perform these acts in their local areas themselves. Otherwise, maybe not would have. See, their power is not just in the bullets and guns that they have. Their power is in the free, uncensored, and unscreened communication channels they have. So I want to challenge you with this. Without limits on images of horror, you're just rewarding media outlets that view you as numbers in a media power struggle game. Without proper screening, you're rewarding terrorists to propagate their message on a global scale. So will you continue?
Okay, so we're going to begin the debate portion. This is a question for the group that is for using images of horror. Where are the limitations for images of horror? And aren't there pictures that are too horrible to show?
I think we gotta be careful calling images of horror. I think everyone in here feels that maybe they're being misled a little bit. It's realistic images. These are images of what is happening out there. And we would argue it's not really up to us to decide on where that boundary goes. We'll leave that to each individual. So if there's information you want to get, you should be able to get it. If you want to get a realistic view of reality, you should be able to have access to it. So we'll leave it up to an individual to decide where that boundary goes.
I'd just like to respond to that. As Martin said, we absolutely need to show what's really going on. That's essential. We don't want to censor the true meaning from anyone. But when you can still show images that convey the essence of a tragedy or an event without having dismembered victims on the screen, without having bloodshed everywhere. And I agree that people should be able to decide, the individual, what they want to do with it. But sometimes these images are pasted on mass media, on newspaper outlets, on internet feeds where anyone can view them. So I think as in terms of screening process, you have individuals that are able to choose and decide if they want to search for these kind of things or not. And otherwise, it stays out of mainstream media.
Okay, my second question is for the team that is against using images of horror. What do you do to attract readers when you can't use pictures that attract people right away?
Well, as we kind of alluded to, this is a big problem within the media right now, and they're really vying for customer support and for readership to increase their ratings. Now, when they do this, they're viewing this as a business, so they're not necessarily trying to get the readers with the most accurate information, or maybe the information of what's really going on in the situation, but they're really just trying to get more money from their advertisers by having increased ratings. So I think the real problem stems in this issue from being able to attract readers as a business instead of having the core values as a media company to be able to inform people in the best way that you know how to without using extremely graphic images, but to inform them just for the sake of them knowing what's going on and not trying to turn them into a customer and a number for you.
Well, for us, if it's a business or not, doesn't matter. We're talking here about information. The ability for people to see these images and react to them so they can make their own decisions. And for example, what they talked about in Boston, the girl that died from a bullet, well, if they wouldn't have shown that image, people wouldn't have reacted one way or another and made decisions about what's next, how to react to the Herald, how the police should react in these situations. So that's why it's so important that these images are up there.
Yeah, I just want to stress manipulation by omission is manipulation nonetheless, and that's what we're against, really manipulating with people and manipulating with reality to control people's actions.